Hello, good afternoon everyone. Welcome to At America. For those who have never been here before, At America is the American Cultural Center here in Jakarta. My name is Dina, I'm one of the e-guide here, and I will be more than happy to answer all of your questions regarding At America. And now I would like to give you a glimpse of our upcoming events. So tomorrow at 4 p.m. we will have a presentation about Asian martial arts in the United States, trends and culture. So for those of you who are interested, please come and join us to watch this presentation. And next, we have a concert, Dream a Little Dream of Ella. This will be presented by Lea Simanjuntak, who will sing hits from Ella Fitzgerald. So for those of you who enjoy jazz, please come and sing along with us together. And we also have a free service called Education USA. So for those of you who are planning to pursue a higher degree in the United States, we have 2 advisors standing by from Monday until Sunday to answer all of your questions regarding higher education in the United States. We are here every day from 1 p.m. until 9 p.m. daily. And on Saturdays, we are here earlier starting from 10 a.m. And these are the highlights of our events, and how to stay updated to our events. Simply visit our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click register, enter your name and email address, and you will be officially our member. And the benefit is we will send you newsletter just once a week through your email about our upcoming events. And we are also very active with our social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Stellar, and also YouTube channel. And for those of you who still like to tweet, please help spread the love by tweeting to us to @AtAmerica. And don't forget to use the hashtag #AtAmerica. And your tweet will appear on our live tweet wall on my left side here. And to begin today's event, I would like to invite Kathryn Dare Morgan, Senior Human Resources Officer, U.S. Embassy, Jakarta.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. We are so happy to have you here. We have been doing this presentation for about 4 years now, and we keep growing it, and we want as many students as possible to know about this. So you have friends that didn't make it. Share all this information with your friends. I would like to begin by introducing a video from our ambassador to the bi-mission, the U.S. Embassy to Indonesia. He has a video because he wasn't able to attend with us, and we just made this on Friday. So if you will please watch. Thank you.
Hi, are you an Indonesian university student interested in working at the U.S. diplomatic missions to Indonesia and ASEAN? If so, then I hope you'll apply for our internship program. The Foreign National Student Internship Program is available to degree undergraduate students attending universities throughout Indonesia. The interns will support the goals of the U.S. missions to Indonesia and ASEAN. This unique opportunity is open to students from all faculties. You can obtain valuable experience in various areas of foreign policy and management while assisting the U.S. bi-mission with research, correspondence, information systems enhancements, analysis of international issues, translation, customer service, and human resources. The U.S. Embassy in Jakarta and Konsulat Jenderal in Surabaya accept applications once per year. This is your chance to join our internship program and work alongside the U.S. Embassy's American and Indonesian employees in their day-to-day business. To learn more about the program, we invite you to come to our 2019 information session on Tuesday, February 19th at the At America Center in Jakarta's Pacific Place Mall. All information about the internship program is available on our website. Thanks for taking the time to learn about this amazing program. I look forward to working with you soon. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much. And as some of you know, and maybe not all of you know, that here in Jakarta, we actually have 2 missions. We have the U.S. mission to Indonesia, and we also have the U.S. mission to ASEAN. And I'd like to introduce the Charge d'Affaires, Jain Bocklage. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dare. Good afternoon. Okay, that was really unenthusiastic. Good afternoon. Much better. All right, everyone's awake now. Thank you. We have a lot to cover. I have some notes, but I'm going to do most of this off the cuff because I really want to welcome you to At America. How many of you, is this your first time here at America? Okay, so we've got about half. Fantastic. So those of you that have been here before know this, but this is one of the facilities that is part of our public diplomacy effort here in Indonesia. So for those of you interested in public diplomacy and outreach, this is one of the types of facilities and the types of things that we do at a U.S. mission and a U.S. embassy. I'd like to start by noting that, as Dare mentioned, we are a bi-mission. That means there's 2 of us here. This is unique in Asia for the United States government. We do it other places in the world, but this is the only place in Asia where we have a multilateral mission and a bilateral mission, and we offer positions to Indonesian students across the support system for both of these missions. The Department of State is a bit interesting because most countries refer to their foreign policy arm as a foreign ministry. The Department of State is the foreign ministry of the United States and is responsible for implementing foreign policy, all of the human and material resources that support that, and we are engaged in issues such as conflict resolution, nuclear nonproliferation, human rights, democracy, environmental issues, trade, public diplomacy, and safeguarding the interests of Americans and businesses abroad. And that is not an exhaustive list, that's merely representational. We also have a huge number of employees, both Indonesian and American, that support our embassy staff, as well as all of the logistics and maintenance of running an embassy and its programs. Throughout the rest of the afternoon, you'll be hearing from officers across our 2 missions about the embassy and the types of project options that are available to you as potential interns. These sections include our information resources section, economic section, public affairs, resource management, political section, and also offices from our various government agencies here, including the Foreign Commercial Service and USAID. I would be remiss as the charge for the U.S. mission to ASEAN if I didn't mention the United States' relationship with ASEAN. We work with all 10 members of the ASEAN, as well as the ASEAN Secretariat here in Jakarta, to promote an integrated Southeast Asian community that is secure, peaceful, and prosperous. One of the most important aspects of that is working with emerging leaders in the region. Approximately 65% of the ASEAN region are under the age of 35, just like many of you in this room. These 400 million youth will define the Asia-Pacific region for decades to come, and your full participation in solving global challenges is critical to the development of this region. Because we understand this, 5 years ago we started a program called the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, or YSEALI. How many of you know about YSEALI already? Oh, not very many. We're going to have to do some work on that. YSEALI is a program that is available to all of you, whether you intern with the United States government or not. We have a website online, and you can find us through At America and through the U.S. Embassy websites. YSEALI does any number of programs, including exchanges to the United States, small grant programs, workshops, and other initiatives, and is focused on change in your communities and across Southeast Asia. We link you with other young leaders, and it is an amazing opportunity to build an ASEAN identity with your counterparts around the region. So you'll hear more about this later today, but at present we have over 140,000 self-identified members of the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. This is an incredible resource for you, and I'll stop talking now because otherwise I'll be at it for another 10 or 15 minutes or hours. So with that, I'm going to turn you back over to Dare Morgan. I've lost her in the lights. Oh, you're behind me. Sorry. All right, you're going to give me that, and I'm going to give you this. Thank you so much for your attention today. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so I have a few notes too. So the main thing is we have 2 missions, and we have approximately 20 agencies, and a lot of those agencies would really like for you to serve as an intern. So now we're going to share with you all the information about our internship program, and you can follow along with your brochure that we have provided. It's partially in English and partially in Bahasa. And so what is it? The FSNIP, the Foreign National Student Internship Program, which is a mouthful. Basically, it's an opportunity for you to get to know us, for us to get to know you, and for you to get some work experience in a very unusual environment. In all over the world, the U.S. embassies, the U.S. missions have this program, and depending on the size of the mission, students in that country can apply and work with their counterparts in the missions and learn about foreign policy, whether it's in an HR office, such as the office that I work in, or whether it's in one of the offices of the presenters that are going to talk to you about their program. The other part of it is, what's in it for you besides meeting people and getting to know people and having a new experience? Well, what's your career field? How many of you are in one degree or another at your universities? You're all in a degree program, correct? Exactly. You're eligible to apply. And if you're in your 3rd year of bachelor's or your 1st year of your master's, it doesn't matter what degree program. We are interested in all types of candidates to apply. And also, although there are no compensation and benefits, how many of you go to a university that actually has an internship program set up where that's part of your curriculum and you're required to get credit in an internship? So maybe about, I'm thinking about a third, maybe a little bit more. And oh, by the way, I am so sorry I forgot to say hi to the 5 American corners representing, let me see, Bandung, wait. I gotta look at my list. I've gotta look at my cheat sheet. I am so sorry. Thank you, Bandung. And we've got Padang. Okay, you gotta cheer. Okay, Malang. Okay, no sound, but we hear you yelling. We know you're yelling. Okay, Ambon. Outstanding. Surabaya. So did I miss anybody? Did I get all that? Okay, I got all that. So back to the program. Thank you all. They all have to leave right at 3 o'clock because they have other things that are going on. And if you have questions, don't forget to send them in so we can answer them, okay? So back to the presentation. Okay, so you might get credit for this. You might not. It might be helpful for your career. It's a new experience. How many of you are here because you want to see what it can do to help you with your career? Oh, yeah, that's about 100%. And there's so much more that's going to happen along the way. So as I said, there's 3 types of programs: a 3-month internship, a 6-month internship, and a 12-month internship. And typically, the 12-month internship has been solely for for IT. However, we had a request to see if we could do a 1-year internship for the Foreign Commercial Service, and we have started that, and it's been very successful. So as we grow our own program, we have more questions from our colleagues that would like to have these opportunities in their sections or in their agencies. So we might have more types of programs for the one-year internship. And for the IT and for the foreign commercial service, the individuals are getting credit, a lot of credit. So the process, how it works, you've got your brochure, and there is a minimum eligibility criteria. You have to be in your 3rd year to be eligible, or your bachelor's, or your 1st year of your master's. And then you've got to apply through jobsdb.com. And that's going to be open on the 20th of February. It's not there yet. If you look for it, you won't find it. But you will find it shortly, and all the jobs will be posted there. And you can submit all your required documents. There are 6 documents. I'm not going to go through the whole list. It's on your brochure. And so there's also a time frame. The most important thing is the application time period is starting the 20th of February, and it ends around the 1st of March. And then there will be there'll be interviews, there'll be conditional offers, there'll be final offers, and then the final offers will come out about May 31st to between the last week of May, the 1st week of June, and then the start date, depending on what university you go to, will either be about the 17th of June or the 24th of June. Now, previously, we only had one start date, but one of the questions that kept coming up when we interacted with the student programs at your universities, the career development officers, or perhaps it was the international affairs section of the universities, the question was, well, our school doesn't end during that time period. Can you be more flexible? And so we're like, oh, yes, we can. We can be flexible. So as long as you can serve at least, I think it's about 6 weeks. It's a 3-month program minimum. However, there might be some flexibility because of your start date, your end date of school, and your start date of your next year. We want to be flexible. We want to have as many opportunities as possible. So again, the time frame is coming up. It's in your brochure. And now I am very excited to introduce from our Information Management Office, Gedion Yohannes.
Selamat siang. Terima kasih sudah datang. So that goes as far as my bahasa goes without embarrassing me. So, IT. So, IT, is anybody interested in IT here? Bagus. Yes, yes. So, our Information Management Office essentially helps our customers do their job. So, we manage a variety of different programs. Networking, systems administration, telephones, mobile technology. So the short of it is, and that's not an exhaustive list as Jane had said, but the nature of our job is to make sure our customers can do their job. So in today's world in information technology, seldom will you get a chance to see how an operation works from top to bottom. Normally, when I started my career in IT, it started off as doing one thing, programming a database, filling a data dictionary, accounts creation. But what I can tell you is with the Information Management Office, what you will do is you will get an understanding of how technology enables the people that it supports to do their jobs better, faster, and how it works across the enterprise. Now you ask yourselves, it's an embassy, right? Well, an embassy is a business like any other organization. They have certain critical goals that they must meet, and they have to use the necessary tools and technology in order to meet those goals, such as, for example, this year our student interns helped us move from the old embassy building to the new embassy building. So you say to yourself, so what, right? What's the big deal? But you get to see what the process is for moving a large number of resources, PCs, servers, wiring, all that stuff that needs to get done in order for the embassy to function on day one, and we did. And actually, I have one of my interns with me, Mas Vito, who's from BNUS, and he's always been an integral part of our operation. So when I say you'll be working with the Information Management Office, you will actually be working. You'll get a full sense of how a technology organization functions, what our mission goals are, and how to meet those mission goals in a most efficient fashion. So periodically, you don't just do busy work. You actually work with the team. We have 3 teams on in our IT office. We have a development team that does mostly application development, web development, content management. We have a network management, which does infrastructure, switches, routers, PCs, and then we have a systems administration office that does break fix. They fix whatever is broken. So there's a lot of stuff that has to be fixed on a day-to-day basis. We need people to do them, and they make it easier for our customers to get through those challenges as they come on a daily basis. So working with the Information Management Office, I highly recommend that you try applying for it. We've been doing this for quite some time. I go out to BNUS and other universities to recruit. What I can tell you is this: you will have experience. That's really what it comes down to. Anytime you go for a job interview, somebody will ask you, what did you do? What's your experience? Well, you can say I did system administration. I can work with networks, documentation, training. So you'll have a full scope and understanding of what we do as a business. And it's applicable to any business organization, whether it's Citibank, Chase, or any other consulting company. So that's about it. Thank you very much.
I have to add that one of the things he didn't touch on so much, he kind of danced around it. Everything that the information resources management team does is for the customers. And one of the things you'll get to learn about is how American customers are, and the interacting with customers and helping customers, and the American cultural viewpoint of customer service as different from other places, because we all have a different cultural reference point, and getting that experience is invaluable for any career you go into. I'd like to introduce now, Paul Taylor, and he is with the Foreign Commercial Service. And he can speak about the one-year internship program.
God, it's bright up here. Good afternoon, Selamat siang. My boss is a little bit limited too, so I won't go any further than that. As Dare mentioned, a big part of the embassy, a majority of the embassy falls under the authority of the Department of State, the U.S. equivalent to KMLU, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. My office is one of the exceptions. I work for the U.S. Department of Commerce, which would be the equivalent of the Kementerian Perdagangan, if I got that right. Did I get it right? Close, maybe. So I work for the trade minister in the United States, as well as my colleagues at the what's often referred to within embassies as the Foreign Commercial Service. Within our organization, we like to call it the U.S. Commercial Service, and there is a distinction. Our clients are American companies. So my job and the jobs of my colleagues, both here in Indonesia, around the world, and in the U.S., is a blend to some extent of the public sector, traditional diplomacy like the State Department and much of our embassy is involved in, and the private sector. Many of my colleagues, both American colleagues and our local colleagues here in Indonesia, come from the private sector. Many of my colleagues have worked for consulting companies, for accounting firms, for law firms, for manufacturers, and realize the important role that governments play in facilitating trade around the world. have become intrigued to be involved in that type of work. So personally, I worked in the private sector doing market access, market entry consulting work, and fell in love with the idea of combining that type of work, which is fascinating, with the idea of supporting international trade and at its very core, supporting greater interaction with people around the world. I always like in sort of when I describe my work to, like, say, my mom and my dad, they'll scratch their head and they'll say, I don't understand what it is you do. I explain to them that at its very core, diplomacy actually is helping to facilitate trade. So the very first diplomatic efforts by countries thousands of years ago was really an effort to help sell their own products or their own crops to neighboring countries. And they reached out to a new community, a new country, to try to facilitate trade with that country. That's what we do. We help American companies connect with Indonesian buyers, with Indonesian partners, and very importantly, with the Indonesian government as well. On a day-to-day basis, what that means is a U.S. company will come to us and say, I've got this great product. It's manufactured in the United States or it's produced in the U.S., and I have lots of very happy customers in Canada. And I've got some very happy customers in Germany, but we've never sold anything to Indonesia, and we don't know where to get started. So we put together a market entry strategy for them. We help them understand what Indonesian customers are looking for. We help them understand the regulations that they need to comply with here in Indonesia. And very importantly, we help find a local partner. All of our clients, their very first step in the market is almost always a local partner. So you still may be scratching your head, just like my mom does, trying to figure out what is it you do. I can give you some very real-life examples. So has anybody ever been to Starbucks here? So years ago, Starbucks began expanding outside of the United States and began looking at the Indonesian market. So they came to us, they asked us for help, and we helped them find their local partner. The rest is history. Now we've got a Starbucks on every corner practically, right, in Jakarta. Similarly, we helped Boeing, the aircraft manufacturer in the US. We helped them work with the Indonesian government. We helped them work with both private and state-owned airlines here, and we helped facilitate those sales here in Indonesia. So our section at the embassy is a great fit for any one of you that might be considering working in the business world, in the private sector later on in your career. If you're interested in working for a foreign invested company here in Indonesia and kind of need to better understand what it is that foreign companies might need when they're looking at this market, our office is a great fit because you're going to be sitting in front of U.S. companies, both large and small, and working with them as they begin to put together a strategy for bringing their products into the market. It's an exciting job. It's very meaningful because you know that you're helping to sort of tie together both the Indonesians and Americans. You help people better understand each other, and you're bringing great products and great services to Indonesia. As Dare mentioned, our office is one of the few offices in sections within the embassy that has looked to have more long-term internships. Part of the reason is many of the U.S. companies that come to us don't have a lot of experience working in Indonesia. That's why they're coming to us. They need to help understand the Indonesian market, and they need help in understanding what sort of direction to go off on in this market. Our interns can provide a great source of information for our clients. So we put our interns right in front of our clients so that the clients can bounce ideas off of them. It's a particularly great role because, as Dare mentioned, this is a very young country. Some of the greatest opportunity for U.S. companies to sell into this market is selling to I don't even know what it is, for not millennials, but the generation that is in their very early 20s, your generation. And so our clients need to understand what you guys are thinking. What is the future of Indonesia gonna be like? What's the market here in Indonesia going to look like in 10, 15, 20 years? You're the ones who can tell our clients that. So we love to have our interns sit down in front of our great American clients and help them understand where Indonesia is here and what the dreams and aspirations of the young generation in Indonesia is. Like Gedion, we have had a chance to bring one of our interns here. Evan has been interning with us for 9 months. Has been with us for 9 months, has been an amazing resource for us. We, over the course of the fall and early spring, we've had 3 or 4 concurrent interns working in our office, and we hope to do that going forward. Evan is going to be around later this afternoon, so I hope you'll take the advantage of that opportunity to pick his brain. Find out what kinds of projects he's been working on, find out how it's going to help him in his future career, and understand what an internship in our office might mean for you as you look forward to graduating and moving on to a career. I'll be around as well. I look forward to answering any questions you might have. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. I would now like to introduce Enrique Gallego. He is in the political section at the U.S. Embassy, and he'll talk to you about the internships available in the political section. Thank you.
Selamat siang semua. So I work in the political section. We're a very large section compared to other missions in the United States or the U.S. Foreign Service. We have 3 subunits that kind of define the different thematics that we focus on. The first one is the internal section that focuses on domestic political issues, human rights, trafficking of persons, corruption. Then there's my unit that I lead, which is the external affairs unit. We do the majority of the bilateral engagement. I work a lot with KEMLU. I meet with different directorates within KEMLU quite often on a variety of topics. Anything from, now that Indonesia is sitting on the UN Security Council, we talk a lot on upcoming UN resolution votes. We talk about other issues of importance, as well as human rights, and such issues like the Uyghurs in China and their treatment or mistreatment. And then there's the security unit, which handles the political military affairs issues as well as counterterrorism. So that is the section in a very quick nutshell. You can see behind me some of the issues in general that we look at. And then for what you would do as an intern, one of the things that I really like about my section is that you become an integral member of our local staff. You work on very important issues. You have the ability to influence how Washington and how KEMLU and the government here see an issue and how we can understand that. Some of the things that you'll do as one of our interns would look at ongoing issues of the day, such as, what are the different political parties here thinking about on particular issues. You'll provide political analysis to that. You could discuss and look at why does Indonesia hold a certain position in ASEAN, in the OIC, or why will they vote a certain way on the UN Security Council. And these are all things that Washington would like to know, and this is very important and will help you understand how to take a complex issue and break it down into its base components. Other things you'll do as part of that is research, provide key information to our leadership, everything from the political counselor to the ambassador and deputy chief of mission, all the way back to Washington to Sometimes even the assistant secretary looks at documents that our local staff have drafted. You'll attend meetings as the note taker, where you'll provide then a summary write-up to the officers, and that usually often ends up being a formal report back to Washington. You'll also attend conferences quite frequently here in Jakarta, possibly even do a day trip to other locations where there might be, I'm sure some of your universities have had a conference discussing a particular political issue. Then there's the minutia. No office can escape paperwork, so you'll help out with the paperwork. And you'll sit in on internal meetings and represent the section, as well as help with high-level visits that periodically come through here. And for vetting, that is a very important part. That's where we look at people in the security services and law enforcement that that have been nominated to receive training by us, either here in Indonesia or possibly even back in the States or regionally. Before they can do that under U.S. law, they're required to be vetted to see if there's any human rights violation allegations against them. So that's a very critical element because we want to make sure that no one that's been a human rights violator gets training from us. So that'll be an important part of what you'll be doing. So with that, I don't want to take up a lot of your time because there's a lot of folks here. I'll be here afterwards and happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce Samantha Martin from USAID, and please give her a welcome. And everyone else.
Terima kasih Ibu Dare. Selamat siang semua. Yang datang melalui DVC, hi. Teman-teman di Malang semua, hi. Special hi for you. Ya, nama saya Samantha, saya dari USAID, the United States Agency for International Development, atau Badan Pembangunan Internasional Amerika Serikat. USAID ini bermitra dengan pemerintah Indonesia, sektor swasta, LSM, universitas, dan lain sebagainya untuk membantu upaya Indonesia untuk mengatasi tantangan pembangunan sendiri, seperti meningkatkan kesehatan ibu dan bayi, infectious diseases, penyakit menular, dan masih banyak lagi. This year we're looking for 7 interns. We're looking for people who are flexible, people who are diligent, people who are curious about the world, about development, about politics. And I'm going to talk to you about the 7 internship opportunities that we have this year. First one is in the program office. We have several different offices within USAID, and 3 of our offices are looking for interns this year. The first one is the program office, which is my office, and we coordinate all of the development assistance that the United States provides for Indonesia. So this includes planning, budgeting, Government of Indonesia relations, communications and outreach, geographic information services, and much, much more. This year we're looking for 2 outreach and communications interns. This is the team that I'm on. We communicate about our development work and our development successes to the Indonesian public. The outreach and communications team is for you if you're interested in social media, translating, writing and editing, events planning, and graphic design, and journalism, and things of this nature. We're looking for 1 geographic information system intern. This team updates and maintains our geographical databases and creates maps about our assistance in Indonesia. So if you're interested in analysis, maps, geography, or maybe this is your major, this is going to be the internship for you. We're also looking for 2 monitoring and evaluation team interns. This team is responsible for collecting and analyzing development data to improve development outcomes and ensure accountability for the resources, the money, the time that we use to achieve these outcomes. So this is for you if you're interested in statistics, research, gender equality, and data management. Okay, next. Another office that we are seeking an internship for is for the Office of the Director, specifically the Resident Legal Officer, which is basically the USAID lawyer. This office is responsible for the leadership and management of USAID programs in Indonesia. Our lawyer covers our personnel issues, ethics issues, and helps make sure that we comply with the laws and regulations of the United States and of Indonesia as well. So if you're interested in, obviously, law, if this is perhaps your major, this is going to be the internship for you. If you're interested in political science, current events, and research, but you're not a law major, you can still try to apply for this one. Yes. Yes, so we have, I have one more that I can just tell you about. So we have 5 for the program office, 1 for RLO, and 1 for another office that isn't here, but it's our Democracy, Rights, and Governance office. This office helps design and implement our programs related to strengthening Indonesian democracy. This one covers things like good governance, anti-corruption, and countering violent extremism. And this year we're looking for an intern who can help with a really interesting project, basically reading and reporting on newspaper articles, journals, and social media about language that might be considered hate speech or might be related to extremism. So if you're interested in analysis and data, and again, social media, and especially politics and current events surrounding extremism in Indonesia, that's going to be the internship for you. So that's it from me. I have some of our former interns here. We have 3, so come talk to us later. If you have any more questions about USAID or these opportunities, come see me, kakak yang pakai celana pink. Makasih ya.
Yes. Okay, so the next presenter, his name is Arnoux Abraham, and he works in the General Services Office. And you ask, what is the General Services Office? He is going to explain that.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arnoux, as Dare mentioned. I find myself in a unique situation coming from the management section of the embassy. So within the State Department, maybe some of you don't know that we have various cones inside of the State Department, and one of which is the management cone. And within the management cone, there are multiple sections. I belong to the General Services Office. Within that office, I manage property and warehouse. And I work with, where is Ibu Rossy Fatchy? There she is. Rossy is the senior most locally employed staff within our team. We have a team of about 54 people, and our entire focus with property and warehouse is essentially supplying U.S. diplomacy. We do this at the right time with the right assets. And these assets we're talking about are expendable and non-expendable property. And these properties are things that, if it is expendable, it means it disappears after you use it. If it is non-expendable, it means it takes a while longer for it to disappear after you use it. And our job is essentially to focus on providing those assets in a very fluid, near storageless process to the U.S. diplomat and to our Indonesian colleagues who work inside that big, brand new, shiny embassy right across from Monas, which stands basically as a monument, if you will, between the United States of America and Indonesia. Our organization right now is growing, and there's a specific role that we see for you inside of management and property and warehouse. And I'll get to that in the next slide. So what are some of the services that we have? We have 5 major services within property and warehouse. The first service, residential. So we have somewhere in the vicinity of 200 residences, to include some official residences where the ambassador, where the charge d'affaires, for example, live. And we are responsible for making sure all of the property, all of the items that fill each one of these residences are kept in a very good, very usable form for each one of our resident clients. If anything breaks, if anything needs to be fixed, it's my team that gets that call. And we come up, we pick up the item, we bring it back, we either replace it, give you a new one, or we fix it. Shipments. So any shipment that comes in, whether it comes in via any one of our ports of entry, the airport or a seaport, and it gets trucked into our location, our job is to download that shipment, upload it into the embassy. Special events. So for those of you who are interested or are going to work in, let's say, public affairs, or you're working on a particular trade show, you might call us to set that trade show up for you. You might call us to make sure that it looks and is communicating the messaging that you want at that particular event. Office. So offices for all the expendable property, right? We're talking about Post-its, pens, paper, all the supplies that each and every one of our offices need. We are the ones who supply those items into each one of the offices to ensure that our diplomats and our Indonesian colleagues are continuously, essentially selling diplomacy. Asset management and analytics. So finally, when we take a look at all the cost of owning these items and assets within the embassy, from the time that we receive it, to the time that we're storing it, to the time that we dispose of it, there's important data collection about how we are doing our business of providing property and warehouse to the embassy is collected. That is the property, that is the asset and analytics team within property and warehouse. So as I said before, we have approximately 54 people who work within my section. We have about 2 warehouses, one at Pondok Pinang and the other in Hanjabat. About 16 vehicles, forklifts, special equipment, and I manage about 36,000 particular assets and properties, and about 10,000 expendable properties, running somewhere in the vicinity of about 30 million to 250, 30 million for fixed property, and then 250,000 for expendable property. So what role do you play in this? The role that we're particularly interested in is someone with, let's say, a business background. How many of you have a business background or are seeking an education in business administration? Okay, a handful. So there's a lot of analytics, there's a lot of math. We're looking for someone who has very good customer service skills. So engaging with all the customers in each one of our services is a particular skill that we're looking for. Someone who communicates very well, who's very patient, because a lot of the customer requests that we get are sometimes outrageous, but we have to stay calm and be able to address some of these requests so that we can ensure that our diplomats and our colleagues and our Indonesian colleagues can stay focused in the art of diplomacy. All right? So communications, your business acumen, your business skills, your ability to speak clearly, your organizational skills. These are all the particular skill sets that we're looking in you as an individual to join our team. So my name again is Arnoux Abraham. We will be here for the remainder, or at least I will be here for the remainder of the afternoon. If you have any questions, please stop by and talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnoux. As you know, you all get to ask questions afterwards. There is one question you're not allowed to ask, and that is what kinds of outrageous requests Arnoux has received. Shh. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce Emily Abraham. She is in the Public Affairs section, in the Cultural Affairs section of the Public Affairs section, and she's going to talk about Waisili in particular.
Yes, we are. Selamat siang. All right, thank you all for your continued attention. It really is bright. So I'm from the Public Affairs Office at the U.S. Embassy to Indonesia, and I want to give a shout out to my colleagues. Public Affairs has two different sections in it. In some embassies around the world, you'll find just 1 or 2 or 3 people doing all the work for both of them, both the cultural affairs side, which I'm going to talk about today, as well as the information office or the Kantor Juru Bicara, the office of the spokesperson that deals with the media and journalism. And that office is also looking for an intern. I'm happy to answer questions about it afterward. I'm here today representing the cultural affairs side of our public affairs section of Diplomasi Umum. And in particular, I have the very great job of being on the youth outreach team. So we focus on interacting with and connecting with Indonesians who are between the ages of 18 and 35, both millennials and Gen Z, I think. And the best program we have, our flagship program for interacting with students like yourself and young professionals, is Waisili. The Young Southeast Asian Leadership Initiative is turning 5 years old, and we're celebrating its 5th birthday this year. And we're also celebrating a big anniversary for the United States and Indonesia. This year is the 70th anniversary of U.S.-Indonesia formal diplomatic relations. And so one thing that we're going to need a lot of extra hands for, and that we hope our section's intern will be able to help out with, is all of these celebrations. If you are not already familiar with Waisili, if you didn't raise your hand before when the charge previewed our program, please get out your phone and follow us on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook. Go to the website and sign up for our email newsletter so that you'll get to know a little bit more about the opportunities we have to go to the United States, to go to workshops around the region, to come here to America, or just log in from your Facebook account and participate in an online course. Really encourage you to be a part of it because you're exactly the university students that we're looking to work with. And we'll welcome all of your ideas this summer as we celebrate some of Waisili's alumni, as we celebrate the fact that this year, one of the Waisili programs gives small grants to young people who have an idea for making a change in their community. It could be a teacher who has an idea about how to train other teachers in digital literacy, or how to include students with disabilities in the classroom in a new way. And they might apply for a grant and get support from Waisili to share their program. There are many, many examples. This year, 21 different teams of young people all around ASEAN were funded to do small programs in their communities, and 7 of them are in Indonesia. We'll be looking to visit with and invite here to America some of those teams. So that's one example of Waisili programs you might work on this summer. Okay, next slide. Another flagship program we have is for high school students, anak kelas 10. Yeah, SMA, anak SMA. It's called the Youth Exchange and Study Program, and it's been going for 15 years now. Over 1,000 Indonesians are alumni, and right now in the United States we have 80 Indonesian high school students studying in the USA all year. They go to a public high school in the United States. They live with an American host family. And when they come home after 10 months away, it is a huge celebration. There's a lot of energy in the room, and we do a lot of work as an alumni team and a youth outreach team to connect with them and gather their stories and make plans for how they're going to share their experience in the US last year with their home schools when they go back home all across the country. And so in June, we'll be working on this event when we welcome home the youth exchange and study kids. They'll get home 2 weeks after Eid this year. Next slide. I also wanted to say a little bit about sports diplomacy. We are always looking for your energy and your ideas about where we can visit when we have guests over the summer for Junior NBA Indonesia, or friends and family members from professional teams in the United States who are interested in sharing their coaching skills and talking about how sports, our shared love of sports across cultures and across languages, helps us, share values that the US and Indonesia have in common, building strong individuals, strong communities, and having fun together. Slide. That's all for my slides. So I had meant to add in something last minute about the American Spaces. Shout out again to all of our friends that you've been introduced to just by being here at America. We'll also be looking for an intern, Kantor Juru Bicara, Cultural Affairs team and Youth Outreach, and also an intern to work full-time this summer on our American Spaces. So my friends in the American Spaces office have given me some facts to share. The American Spaces are not only here in America, but also at major universities in Jakarta, Bandung, Jogja, Semarang, Surabaya, Malang, Ambon, Pontianak, and Padang, and in 600 other locations across the world. And so an opportunity to work in the American Spaces office is one to focus on digital programming, opportunities to connect by DVC, engage online, and to be responsible for supporting programs at all of those spaces, helping to coordinate between them and coming up with new ideas, as well as practicing program management and reporting. So we'll be here, my colleague Delia and I will be at the table for the public affairs section afterward, and we welcome your questions and your ideas for working with us this summer. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. So now I would like to introduce Firziati Sudarmaji, and she is the supervisor of the Customer Service Center, and they are the face of helping everybody in the embassy.
Thank you, Dare. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I work at the Customer Service Center, and from now on I will spell it out as CSC. And well, the difference between my colleagues here and me is that saya pribumi asli. Jadi saya bisa bahasa Indonesia dengan baik. Semoga. The CSC is not as big as property and warehousing with 54 people. Our section is 5. Only 5. But I can tell you that we have the best view in the office. And when you come to work for us, you will see. So the CSC is a one-stop shop, and it is under the management section just like property and warehousing. And it provides the services, it provides certain services under the management section. And when you hear customer service, what is it? What do you think we do? Answer calls, we help people, right? Okay, how do we help people? Yeah, we do that too. And either with direct action, or we coordinate with all these different sections at the embassy. So there's a lot of communication and teamwork going on in the CSC. We're only 5, but we're probably the busiest section and the most noisiest section. Now, so what do we do exactly? Okay, Americans come and go. The diplomats are here for 2 years, 3 years, and then they come, and then they go. They rotate. Usually, it's normally every summer, the period of May until September. So when they come, we provide the newcomer briefing. We tell them what there is in Indonesia, in Jakarta, what to expect. We get their account set up, their phone working, and we make sure that their database is up to date. So we provide that. So you imagine you get to meet all the Americans, all. We communicate with local companies. So in order for us to solve issues that come to the CSE, we need to communicate with all these companies. We deal with the drinking water company, the communication providers in Indonesia, there are several, the internet company, the gas delivery company. Now, when the American comes, we also do the administrative part for the check-in. So they come in, they check in, we make sure that they're okay at home and also at the office, and they have everything they need to work, and that they're settled. And when they depart, we also do the checkout process. Make sure they don't leave with their house keys back to America, or their phones, which they have to leave. And we also do a bit of IT first-year support, so we're kind of like the IT help desk. You are not required to have an IT degree to join this customer service center. Anyone can learn how to deal with IT issues. Now, who never has an IT issue? Everyone has an IT issue, right? Computer is slow, can't log in, forgot my password. That's the most common issue that we have. Okay. And we do many, many more things. I think the last time I checked, we have around 45, we are involved with 45 business processes. So with the CSE, you will get to understand how the embassy operates, how it gets all together, and how we support all these agencies to meet their goals. So your role. If you work in the CSE, of course, you will receive the visitors. Okay. First-hand experience on how to talk with and how to deal with Americans and Indonesians. And I forgot to mention that this is an internal customer service center. So we don't deal with the external, like visa or questions about the embassy that's for external customers, but usually just the internal customers that we deal with. So the employees, basically. Okay? And we answer general inquiries about policies at the office, procedures, if a person gets lost. And only when they get lost, they do come to the CSE. And we liaise again with internal and external customers as service providers, sorry. Internal service providers is like property and warehousing, and we have a lot more like IRM, and we also have HR, and the external is like the communication service providers or the gas company. So we deal with those, or telecom, if you know. Okay. We have all these brochures and the website, and we have a special project coming up, and if you're interested, then if you know a bit of SharePoint or a bit of PageMaker maybe, and Publisher, desktop publishing, you can also help us in updating all these different kinds of information that we provide to our internal customers, Americans and Indonesians. As you know, these information change by day, and we need to update them so they can be current. So current information is the best tool, is the best it's the best, I guess, media to help customers. And of course, you get to assist with the CSE daily operations and special projects. Last year, I think IRM mentioned, Gedion mentioned about the moving of the embassy. We had our 2 interns involved in these special projects, and they get to do fun things like design T-shirts for the team, for the office, and also make brochures for them, newsletter, So we have upcoming projects too. We have another system that we're going to apply soon, and hopefully you can take a part of that. So CSE is a place to improve the skills that you need when you embark on your career. If you want to improve your communication skills, your people skills, if you think you don't have any people skills now, you can practice in the CSE. You can speak English and practice let's see how good your English is. Let's see how to communicate with Indonesians and Americans, because we like it or not, we're different, but we have ways to deal with these two cultures. And you get to sharpen your teamwork skills. You don't only work with the 5 of our staff, but you work with the whole service providers. And there are so many. PAW only has 54. Can you imagine what the others have? Facilities unit also has many. So you get to deal with all these different parts and elements at the embassy. So teamwork skills can be improved. If you'd like to improve your teamwork skills, this is the place. And when you talk about customer service, you give service and you give solutions, right? As fast as possible, as effective and probably efficient. So with the CSE, you get to improve and develop your problem-solving skills. Okay? And that will, of course, benefit you later on when you get to work. And you get to interact with all these different kinds of people, and you get also to learn from them. You get to know the Americans and also the Indonesians, and you get to learn about the different cultures that we have. And it's really a melting pot in our embassy, different cultures and different ways of people saying things and wanting things. And some can be pretty aggressive, but some can be very, very kind. As Arnoux said, you had some I'm not gonna mention. So I hope that you are interested in joining the CSE and learn a lot from us. And if you have any questions later, I will be available. Thank you.
Thank you, Firzi. One of the things that Firzi does for the mission is part of our orientation when the new Americans come into post. She guides a panel discussion, training, if you will, of how to work with Indonesians for Americans. And she also does this for new hire Indonesians of how to work with Americans. Because there are some amazing differences, and both the Americans and the Indonesians, after they've served a little bit, and they're like, oh, that's why. It's a great course. So if you are able to serve as an intern and she has that, you should join and observe and learn. So right now it's questions, and as we slowly brought everybody up, we have our whole panel to answer questions. You can ask HR questions, you can ask questions that relate to any of the sections, and we have people that are going to walk around with the microphones to have you ask questions. And we have, Rizda, we have some goodie bags, don't we, as well? So ask questions. Afterwards, everybody will be there, as well as the interns that are currently working that they all introduced, and we are excited. And we also want to make sure that we get the questions from the American corners and the other people that are watching. So Dina, where's Dina? Is Dina, okay, so Dina's got to make sure that I know when to pause and listen to some questions. Do you want to start with one of those? Okay, excellent.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, we apologize because students must go first before the session ends because they have a class, but they leave the question about the internship program opportunities, and maybe I will deliver the information to them regarding the answers. So they asked from the previous presentation, we know that U.S. Embassy was offering to us to take internship at FNSIP program and from the information that we know, the embassy is a workplace that more interested to recruit social science college students like international relations, communication science, English lecture, and the other degree that require a social and communication based skill. What I want to ask is, how about engineering students college? Because as we know that ITB, mostly students here are engineering degree. Thank you.
So your question is, students that are in engineering programs, are they accepted as well?
Yes.
Yes, they are. If you may have noticed, we went from a very, very old building into a brand new building, and we definitely need some help with looking at the new building. I know that facilities is looking at internships. I don't have a list right in front of me of the 21 internship possibilities, but can you get me that? Where that list is of which ones, the specific interns, positions? Do you have a list of all the 21? I want to look at that again. Anyway, it may not be available this year, but the facilities section is looking at interns for engineers. Even if the facilities doesn't have positions for engineers, there are other sections where engineers are going to be able to add value, and so they should not shy away from applying for the program. And we have some other people that are going to answer that question even better than me. Go for it.
Yeah. Speaking for the political section, one of the value addeds an engineer can do is, for example, in the internal section, if there is a proposed infrastructure program or improvement that's up there, having an engineer's viewpoint on what is the feasibility of that program, that proposal, is very interesting for us to help provide a better analytical product to say whether or not that program would be wise for the government. Also, there's regional programs that ASEAN might have that they're looking at in terms of a regional infrastructural improvement program. An engineer, again, can help where we're looking at the policy side. An engineer can give the viability and whether that's a wise choice as a policy. So an engineer has both the capability of looking at, working in facilities, working on a project, but also can provide value added from a political analyst side. So that's one thing why I would encourage an engineer to apply for the program.
Thank you very much for the question. Next, anybody have a question? Okay. Can someone give her a microphone, please?
Should I introduce myself or?
Please. And what university you're going to and what your question is.
My name is Angie. I'm from Binus University. So I actually have two questions. The first one is that, may I know how many interns are needed in the political section? And my second question is that, if for example, I am interested in 3 or 4 sections, then how will you guys further consider me into only one sections of the internship fields? Like, do you understand?
Enrique will answer the first question, and I will answer the second question.
I defer for you for the second question. Ours is just one.
So there's one position in the political section. So if you're interested in multiple positions, apply for them. When we in HR do the selection process, review all the materials, determine that you're eligible, we pass forward all the eligible and qualified candidates to the sections. They determine who to interview, and then perhaps if there's 3 sections and they all want the same intern, well, they're just going to have to negotiate and figure that out.
Thank you.
Ah, wait, Sam.
I can add,
Just speak, I think.
last year we had one intern apply to
Speak into the microphone.
my shop, my internship, and another one, and he was accepted. I think it might have been the political section. Dua-duanya menerima. Akhirnya dia yang memilih. Dia pengennya ke sini, yang itu diambil.
What was the answer?
So last year we had an intern who was accepted to 2 positions, and he ended up choosing himself. Yeah, which one he preferred.
And we would do that as well, because if 3 sections wants an intern, we would ask, please rank order what your choices are after all the interviews are conducted, because an interview is just not about the employer interviewing you, it's also about you interviewing the employer, don't forget. Okay, another question. Do we want to go over here? Let's go over here, and then come back.
Me? Okay.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for the opportunities. My name is Isratno. I'm from State University of Jakarta, majoring in psychology. Honestly, I'm just wondering that as psychology students, what do you guys think the most fittest role in internship position that U.S. Embassy over, and also what is the skill required to enroll in such position?
So if you read the brochure, read all the information, you should apply to the positions you are most interested in. And then if you meet the qualifications, you would be forwarded for a possible interview. You have to decide what you're most interested in.
Okay.
Are you going to apply for a job that you're not interested in?
No.
I mean, you might have to in order to make ends meet while you find the job that's your dream job. But if you're looking at a variety of internships, there's the list, and one speaks to you more than another, apply for that one. Or apply for 3, but remember, what do you think is the one you're most interested in? And then when you finish your interviews, are you still interested in that one as your number 1? Next question. Okay, find someone over here.
Okay, thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Tomo. I'm a lecturer of ITS Surabaya. As a junior lecturer, I just want to ask about opportunities for a lecture maybe. Because in my campus, a young lecturer should be continue their PhD program in overseas. So I think internship for a young lecturer to make some environment use and English is a great opportunities. And the second one is...
I think we need to go one question at a time because I can't remember them all. Can you repeat your first question?
Okay.
You're a lecturer.
I am a lecturer.
And you're studying lecturing to
No.
be a teacher.
I am a lecturer. I am teach electrical engineering.
So you're not a student?
No.
Okay. So afterwards, talk to the different people at the different stations for more information about those opportunities, okay?
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
And I'm so glad you're here.
Yes. May I ask for the second question?
Okay.
Okay. Based on the information here, the student should at 5th semester. Yes.
3rd year, which is 5th semester.
Okay, so
going into the summer before their 4th year, or masters between the 1st and 2nd year, first
okay.
year.
So for the vocational student for Diploma 3, is it not eligible?
No.
Okay.
And that's your second question. When we have the questions, if you can keep it to one question and make it, if you have multiple questions, ask the question that's most important. And then afterwards, when you get a chance to meet everybody, ask more questions then. Another question. How about on this side? Okay.
My name.
You all go.
My name I Ahmad Faisal. My name I Ahmad Faisal. I am a student at Institute of International Islamic
Please
Philosophy.
stand up.
My name I Ahmad Faisal. I am a student at Institute of International Islamic Philosophy. My question I asked about this opportunity is what country involved this opportunity? What Indonesia and ASEAN? What country is involved in this event? Such as Singapore or Burma, Myanmar, or others country.
So you want to know what countries are involved in ASEAN?
Yes. My hobby is problem solving. Is a conflict many country. This is my motivation is problem solving conflict in other country. Yes, thanks.
Yes, thank you. Can you please ask that in Indonesian?
Pertanyaannya, negara mana yang terlibat nanti kalau misalkan magang di Indonesia saja atau di negara mana saja ditempatkan? Soalnya tadi ada Indonesia sama ASEAN itu. Maksudnya apakah magangnya di Indonesia saja atau terlibat di Asia Tenggara magangnya? Terima kasih.
So the U.S. Embassy to Indonesia, the U.S. mission to Indonesia and the U.S. mission to ASEAN are independent and they're in the U.S. part of the U.S. government here in the country. And the U.S. mission to ASEAN, and I'm going to hand this to Jane in a minute, works with other countries within that association to further like-minded initiatives. So they're not other countries with our embassies, and I'm not sure I'm answering your question correctly because I'm not sure I understand.
Dare, if I could jump in?
Yes,
So,
please.
I think the answer there is that when we work with other ASEAN countries as the U.S. mission to ASEAN, it's through the ASEAN Secretariat, which is located here in Jakarta. And so all of the internships we're talking about today are located in offices here in central Jakarta. Right?
With the U.S., either of the two U.S. missions.
With either of the two U.S. missions, or
But not with
our
the
other
Secretariat
agencies.
or other countries.
Right, and you wouldn't be working in another country.
Okay, we have a question. We have a question from one of the American corners. Thanks for raising your hand. Hi, Malang. Unfortunately, we can't hear you at the moment. Okay, we're going to come back to you after you work with your technical difficulties. I think, did we have a question over here?
Hello, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Savannah. I am currently studying at Al Azhar University, communication study. I was wondering, what are the procedure for the overtime? It's written here that the work hours is 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Will there be a overtime? As I know that the delegates is working 24 hours. Sometimes they have to manage maybe the hotel or maybe the customer service is sort of like.
First of all, there's no 24 hours.
Well, the customer service.
And there's no overtime. We're flexible with schedules for internships, but the internships, the individuals will work no more than 8 hours. You don't get paid.
No.
So there is no overtime.
No, I just mean.
I know. But if there's a situation where there's an event that's in the evening, then you would discuss that with your team lead and figure out if you're able to attend it, what do you need to do differently for that day. It's all flexible.
Like come in at lunchtime and then work until evening, for example.
Absolutely.
The commercial service does, excuse me, a lot of evening events, and be sure after this to speak with Evan. And where is Evan? He's way back there. Be sure to talk to Evan. We do a lot of receptions. We do a lot of events, ribbon cuttings and things like that in the evening. So we always want to be very flexible and make sure that you're not working brutal overtime hours. So there's an opportunity to work at evening events, but we make sure that we're not taking you away from other things that are a priority as well.
Okay, thank you very
much. Okay, I think a question over here.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Malang.
Okay. Malang, your mic is on mute, I think.
Okay, do you wanna?
Okay, Malang, see if you can email at America to ask the question. Are you on now?
Okay, we're gonna try Padang.
Okay.
Yeah, they are ready with a question from Padang.
Hello, my name is Rossy from Andalas, Padang. So I actually have two questions. The first question is, why is required to be in your third year of your bachelor or your first year of master in order to join the intern? And my second question is, does the embassy give us some kind of incentive, like for example, a place to live in order to join the internship? Thank you.
I'm so sorry, but I couldn't hear because there was such some kind of feedback or something. The educational requirement is listed in the brochure. It's online. You have to be in your third year of your 4-year university degree to apply, and you have to, or your first year of your master's degree. And the second question?
Does the embassy give us incentive, like for example, the place to live in order to join the
incentive? It's about incentive or compensation. Does the embassy give the intern any incentive?
No, we do not.
Some of the programs you get college credit. Some of the universities will give you college credit for your internship, but that and the work experience is the incentive.
And you also get a certificate of the internship that you can provide to your university or even possibly in the future when you apply for jobs.
That's true. I wanna speak to the experience part. We get a lot of questions about competitiveness or how many internships are there, and it feels like the question is, should I bother trying? Is it too competitive for me? And I want to encourage everyone to dream big and say that the worst thing that could happen is that you get called for an interview and you don't get an offer, but you have the experience of going through a professional interview and practicing your English, and you're so much better prepared for the next job or the next opportunity that comes your way. And we're really looking to interact with as many interested and driven young people as we can. So don't think that way. If you're interested in one of the internships, please give it a shot. and we'll be happy to meet you.
And if you're concerned about whether or not you have enough experience, don't be concerned. You're in university. You might only have experience from your university and from your school. And this is the very beginnings of your lifetime of your career. And maybe you might have several careers. And we want you to push yourself out there, apply for something, and get that experience.
Okay, we're going to go back to this side. Questions?
Good afternoon. My name is Cindy. I'm an international relations student from UPN Veteran Jakarta, and I want to ask you something about the brochure said that written that we must possess minimal GPA 275 and English literate. So is that mean that we don't have to have a minimum TOEFL score or something? But I usually know that if we want to intern at some place, that we have to possess minimum of TOEFL scores or.
We don't do TOEFL scores, and the way you're speaking, I think you meet the minimum English requirement.
Thank you.
Make sure your grades do too.
Of course. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, that side, please. The one with the white shirt. Can you please pass the microphone? Yeah. Can you stand up, please?
And then we'll go to you in the back.
Okay. Hi, thank you for the opportunity. My name is Reza, and I'm a law student from Universitas Indonesia. And what I would like to ask is directed to the political section department. And my question would be relating to your research and analysis output. Like, what kind of output did you guys created in your department, whether it is a journal or an article, infography, and if I may know, what's the latest issues that you guys been researching? Thank you.
Sure, that's a great question. And our human resource or human rights officer, on average, probably writes about 3, thesis length reports annually that are congressionally mandated. We just finished the Trafficking in Persons report that gets published through Congress. The annual human rights report, the country narrative is written by us as the lead within the embassy. There is a labor report that we do. There is the religious freedom report that we do. And these are all just the congressionally mandated reports that are done throughout the year. On a weekly basis, we probably write what we call an official informal, maybe a half dozen. Those are paragraph-sized reports, quick reports back to Washington. And then what we call is a cable, is more of a formal report. That's about the length of up to 2 pages long. And those go back to Washington. Those are official articles that are published internally within the U.S. government. And those are seen all the way from our desk officers, which back at Washington, all the way up to we've had reports that make the presidential daily brief, which is the president's daily brief that he gets to see what's going on in the world. So you get that length. And then you have, as an intern, you will be helping to provide in-depth analysis, working with the local employed staff, and they also write such cables and such official and formal daily reports. And then you'll help out with the congressionally mandated. So there's a lot of writing. The bottom line for a political officer, we meet people and we write things. That's pretty much our daily bread and butter.
Can I add really quickly? USAID is also looking for a lawyer intern, and one of our alumni, Yasmin, is here, and she can talk to you about exactly what she did and the topics she researched and what she wrote. So be sure to stop by my table after this.
Okay, the young lady in the back.
Okay, my name is Farah. I'm from University of Indonesia. I would like to ask about, is there any chance for fresh graduates to be accepted in this internship? Thank you.
You mean fourth-year graduates?
No, fresh graduates. Yes, 4 years.
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
I'm so sorry. And we also had another question from one of our American corners.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
Then-
gonna take this side. Okay.
Excellent. I'll let you lead, Dina.
Hello, my name is Iksan Kurnia. I am Islamic Studies student at Universitas Negeri Jakarta. I would like to ask you about. I am actually a fourth year student, and unfortunately, in your brochure it says the internships begin on June 24, but unfortunately, I've still a class until July, I guess. So, shall I?
You're a third-year
Can I
student
apply?
or fourth-year student?
Fourth year.
So you're graduating in July.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I still had a class to attend until July. But it's not that it ends, it's only about 1 hour.
So after this, ask someone in HR because that's a very specific question in a very specific situation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, from this side. Young lady in the pink shirt.
Let me introduce myself first. My name is Adinda and I am an English translation student from State Polytechnic of Jakarta. The question is, the only section that mentioned about the translation job is only the USAID Program Office Development Outreach and Communications. How about the other sections?
All of the other sections also need translations. They all have different levels of requirements.
So are we...
And USAID is going to sell herself again.
USAID has professional translation interpretation services on the development, outreach, and communications teams. You would be working with our professional translator.
I'll make a plug as well for the Kantor Jurubicara. They have a print media team that also works on summarizing and combing the news. While an intern generally doesn't have to do that daily work, in any kind of embassy environment, you're going to be going back and forth and practicing your language. But I do think Sam's right that for professional translation services in-house, her office is where to look.
I could add something. So in my section, we are starting off with e-auctions. So as we post information onto the website, all that information has to be both in English and in Bahasa Indonesia. So this kind of that kind of service could definitely, on a continuous basis, require a translator.
And I know that the Foreign Commercial Service and the political section, they also, the interns, the LE staff, everyone translates from the print media and the visual media and puts that into English, and often English back into Bahasa, and the nuances are very important.
And we also, when we have visitors that do not speak Indonesian, that are meeting with Indonesian contacts that don't speak English, it'll either be one of our LES, or if an intern is able to, will act as the interpreter in those meetings. So being able to both translate documents, especially official documents, as well as act as an interpreter in a meeting is very critical for pretty much every section in the embassy.
And for us, for the commercial section, we're, as I indicated in my presentation, we are helping U.S. companies when they're looking for a potential partner here. So a lot of times, the business community in Indonesia is pretty sophisticated, and many of our potential partners, Indonesian partners, already speak English relatively well, but we do utilize translators and interpreters both for print documents. So this would be marketing material for a U.S. company that's bringing some very sophisticated piece of technology to Indonesia. We help our clients translate that into a Indonesian Bahasa version of their marketing materials. For interpretation services, we have face-to-face meetings between our U.S. clients and potential partners here. Sometimes it really helps to make sure that everybody understands each other. We'll utilize interpretation services, and an intern in our office would have great opportunities to be involved in that.
I think we have a question from Malang, is that right?
That's right. So the question is, as it said in the brochure, the internship opportunity is available for both the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta and the U.S. Consulate in Surabaya. Can the intern choose which placement they prefer, or is it depend on the officials?
So if you are interested in an internship opportunity in Surabaya and also in Jakarta, then apply for those specific ones. And then if you end up being interviewed for both and both offices would like you, then you need to choose which one you would work at. And that means you would have to go to that city and be able to work there during that time.
Okay, I believe we have one in the back.
And how many more questions do we have? How much more time? Are we done?
One more question.
One more question, and then we're all going to slowly, if we'll allow all the people with the missions to go out and find their seats, and then everybody else can file out and start asking questions individually and introducing yourselves and getting to know us.
Thank you for the last opportunity. My name is Vika. I'm from Bakri University. As we have to apply intern with our interest, so for political section, may I know the percentage between international politics and domestic politics? Because you put it in your PowerPoint, there's also domestic politics that you guys discussed in. Thank you.
Yes, so, our job in the political section, so we advocate U.S. positions for the, when we work to Kemlu. But we also, for Washington to understand what's happening in Indonesia, we provide political analysis on what's going on. For instance, so there's a little thing going on in April, the general elections. Of course, we're going to be interested to see who wins. We have no preference on who wins. For us, it just has to be a fair, open election. Whoever wins, we will write and say, here's the results of the election, and here's what we think this means for Indonesian foreign policy, Indonesian domestic politics, and that's what we do. But we do not influence what happens domestically.
So it's
we
about
just report
50-50?
Oh, no. So the Internal Affairs Unit, their bread and butter is domestic politics, internal political reporting, human rights, religious freedom, that whole lane. My team is external affairs. I will coordinate with them, but my team mostly engages with Kemlu, and we are discussing U.S. positions on international issues, and we're advocating at that time for, with Indonesia on the UN Security Council. We have been advocating recently on a specific topic that's going to come up for a vote, and asking for Indonesia to support that or not, trying to see what they're going to vote. So that's what I do, and I do that almost exclusively. My team handles the external.
Thank you, everyone, so much. We really, really appreciate you joining us. We hope that all of you find an interesting position or two or three within Jakarta or Surabaya and apply for the internships. They are going to be posted on February 20th, and you have the opportunity to do that and just research the brochure to make sure you have everything. And here is an example of one, of what it's going to look like. So, and I would like to thank so much all of our panel members for sharing with us the different aspects of the internship program positions that they have available. And don't forget, they all are very excited for you to apply. and they'll be ready outside with you shortly. Thank you so much.
Okay, and a round of applause please for our speakers. And now we're gonna invite all the speakers to take a picture together right on stage. Dan terima kasih untuk semua yang sudah datang. Jangan lupa semua speaker kita membuka booth untuk langsung bertanya-tanya, dan juga akan ada booth di belakang di classroom. Jadi bisa juga dikunjungi yang di bagian classroom. Terima kasih untuk semua yang sudah datang. Hope to see you guys at another At America event. Bye. Have a great day everyone.